All right, let's start pushing some buttons here.
All right. Yeah, that's my job. On your computer buttons.
I think we're all up and going now.
Yeah, all three are up and running.
Yep.
So what are we? This is 58.
58.
All right. Are we live?
We're live.
All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the 58th 034 Motorsport weekly live chat. We did not have one last week. We apologize. I was on a business trip, and then when I got back, Nate went on vacation, so there was no good time to do it last week. But we really wanted to, because with the B9 tuning release, there's a lot to talk about. But we apologize. We wanted to do it, but we're here. We're back, and I guess we got a lot to talk about.
A couple weeks worth.
So as always, question and answer. If you're new and just joining us, welcome. Feel free to ask us anything you'd like. Certainly anything automotive related. Any controversial automotive topics you'd like us to weigh in on. Bronze or chartreuse, we don't care. That's whatever color you want your wheel to be. Knock yourself.
First question. So, are you guys planning on releasing more styles of wheels?
I like silver. I'm like a '90s German car guy, where every car has silver wheels.
To be fair, the race cars had white. We don't have a picture up anymore. The IMSA cars were white.
Oh, the IMSAs did, yeah. But
the rally stuff.
Yeah, the IMSA GTO and the Trans Am had white wheels. I'm not a big fan of white wheels, but like from the factory, RS cars, Porsches, they all had silver wheels. All the cool BMWs. But anything about 034 Motorsport, any products or services, cooking tips, 3D printing, relationship advice, we're here for you guys. So we already have a bunch of questions coming in.
Yep.
We kind of take a no BS approach here, so we just say what we believe is true, and we're kind of really try to be fact-based, science-based, in all our responses as much as possible. And then, of course, we have opinions as well. All right, someone's asking, is it dangerous to drive with collapsing cats?
I'm assuming this is going to be like a B8 3-liter.
I mean, better than collapsing cows. Cats are pretty light, and they land on their feet.
These are kind of just as much of a pain to get out of the way, though. Yes, it is.
If they're not declawed,
you're literally, running the risk of corking one side of the engine or both sides of the engine. So yeah, it's if you think there or have any signs that there's failure in the catalyst there, you need to get that addressed very quickly.
The problem is the catalytic matrix is positioned in a way that engine airflow can go straight through it. But once that gets loose, it starts rotating, and when those go sideways, they essentially block all flow through the engine. So all that heat and the pressure built up from inside your engine, from the combustion chamber, has nowhere to go, but the pistons keep pushing it. And so you end up, typically, your EGTs skyrocket, all kinds of bad things happen in your combustion chamber, and you melt down.
Yeah, if you're lucky, you'll just get a bunch of misfires, but it can get much worse, in a pretty short time with those. So, you're literally turning your motor into an air compressor with no outlet.
And we've had a number of reported B8 3.0T engine failures over the last few years that were on our tuning, and I'd say half of them at least. And none of them were the fault of our tuning that we've never
been able to determine anything other than.
And we've done detailed post-mortems. But at least half of those were cat failures. Quite a number were intercooler failures where coolant went into the motor.
Yep.
We had one customer who swears our tune blew his motor. Turns out he misinstalled his high-pressure fuel pump, and fuel poured into his valve cover and filled his motor with fuel, which then reduced the viscosity of the oil, and he destroyed his motor that way.
Yeah, that actually was a seized. It was a rod bearing.
Yeah, the bearings obviously had no lubrication, no oil film, and they contacted the crankshaft, and bad things happened. So, Will you be looking into offering flow-formed wheels, possibly in different colors? Well, we're not just looking into it. We have designed a flow-form wheel. It's basically the same basic style and
Design style, yeah.
of ZTF 01. Now, of course, we had to modify it. The ZTF 01 has scallops in here on the spokes to further lighten. There's a lot more strength in a forged wheel, so we had to put some of that material back for the flow formed wheel. But it will be a very strong. We've yet to test it, but we will test the crap out of it, and we will make sure that it's a very strong wheel, and they will be substantially lower priced. They will be heavier.
Yep.
There's no free lunch. A flow formed wheel that's the same weight as a forged wheel would probably not even last a day. So there's just a lot more strength and density in a forging than in a casting, even with under light pressure casting. We're looking to release those Q1 of 2022, so in about 9 months. Hopefully sooner, but we're very excited. We will. I believe we're considering stocking at least 2, maybe 3 colors, because these wheels will be lower priced. They'll be a more high volume seller.
I think you meant to say Q1 2022.
Is that what I said?
I think you said 2021.
I swear
Maybe
I said
my brain just
2022, but yeah. This happens like at least once an episode where my brain thinks one thing
It could
and
be
it
me.
says
I don't
another.
know.
I don't know. So I've actually learned that about myself. I never knew that I did it as much as I do. What else? Release date for DAZA 4-inch turbo inlet. I don't know what the official. We don't have an official release date. It is being cast right now. I want to say it's going to be probably like in August, something like around there. But stay tuned. We are going to offer it at an exceptional introductory price, and I think I've said this before. It's going to piss off everyone in the industry how cheap we're going to sell it. But we basically have a huge tooling cost that we need to pay off, and the per unit cost is quite low
With a cast part, yeah.
with a cast part, so we can offer it at a very low introductory price for a limited time, and just to get that tooling cost paid off. I think it's a good strategy, and then we can grab some market share too. So if you're interested in a 4-inch inlet, I strongly recommend waiting for ours. We will have inserts for all the popular hybrid turbo sizes on the market, including some really big ones. We've gone out and done extensive research on all the options, and it's a nice piece with the factory, like the factory breather is cast into the housing, and it fits with all of our intakes, and it's going to be really close to just about everything else on the market as well. Everything kind of terminates.
Yeah, I mean, there's not a lot of options to move it around for the inlet there, but yeah, it is specifically made it up with our 4-inch tube.
Someone's asking, I want to tune my B8.5 S4 with you guys. Do you have any deals or sales coming for the 4th of July? Nothing to announce, but I would say just wait a little bit, and something will be coming your way, and you will be very happy with our tuning. So hang tight. We should be announcing something in the next week. Any upgrade recommendations for a 2017 S6 C7.5 S6? Oh yeah. So we just released a ResX for your car. ResX is a product that we came up with that simply replaces one of the resonators in the factory exhaust system. So instead of swapping out a $3,000 exhaust or whatever, you just put in our ResX, which is very affordably priced compared to an exhaust system, and it replaces part of the exhaust with straight piping. So you get the additional flow and sound of a $3,000 exhaust without paying for it, and it's completely reversible as well. And so we have that. Generally, we don't have our tune yet. We will be working on that this year. We hope to have something on the market by later this year, but
which actually consumes the next question down. Is 4-liter tune coming for the S6 S7?
Yeah, so that one too. So we do have tuning coming. We will have various 91, 93, E85 octanes. We're working on our low pressure surge tank for that application. I believe we have a rear sway bar for that car. We do. And we must have. Well, we have of course our inserts. If you haven't done our inserts, those are very popular. We sell an insert
Inserts,
bundle.
wheels.
We have wheels that will fit that car very well. 19-inch wheels, 19-inch wheels, ZTFs. But in general, those cars, it's all about the 4.0T and tuning that ECU. So that's where the real fun comes in. And I believe there are also airbag controllers that you can.
Well, yeah, nothing we've got, but yeah,
We don't
there's
have
that
that.
stuff out there. But yeah, no, we'll be doing both ECU and TCU files. We'll be getting very similar treatments to everything else we've done. So yeah, there'll be a bunch of fun stuff coming software-wise for those.
Well, not air ride controller. We do have lowering links with the car.
We have the
Sorry.
links, yes.
That's what I was thinking.
Yes.
We have lowering links, so you just slap those on the car and
Right.
it lowers the car. And then also, like unlike the controllers, which just have a mind of their own and raise and lower the car at random. Or if your friends get in the car, they can like jack it all the way up and park it and like make you feel terrible about yourself. The lowering
I don't
links,
know who would do that.
yeah, nothing like that can happen. So, are you going to be releasing a B9 SQ5 downpipe catted and non-catted? Well, we do not do non-catted products here. We stopped doing that just simply because it's from an emissions standpoint, it's the full pollution of the engine is coming out, and we haven't seen the benefit of that.
Yeah, we haven't found a reason to do that if you've got a proper,
Yeah.
engineered and race-oriented catalyst in there.
Yeah, so our high flow cats, in our experience in testing, flow just about as much, like within about 90-95% of a test pipe, up to a certain power application, a very high one. And all of our cats are Euro 3 or Euro 4 specifications. That means they'll run as clean as like a 2000 to 2008 car did. A stock one.
Well, just based on the catalyst, the
Just
engine,
based
the
on the
engine's,
catalyst.
fueling strategy and the advancements in the
cleaner.
engines are
Yeah.
still, obviously all still there.
Yeah. So even though our high flow cats are not emissions legal, they're for racing use only. Your car with one will run extremely clean, and you could sleep well knowing that you're not releasing extra pollution or raw fuel and hydrocarbons into the environment for no reason. It also makes the car much more pleasant to drive. You don't get those nasty, noxious fumes coming out the tailpipe, the soot on your bumper, all that stuff is non-existent with our high flow cats. We are talking about doing something for the SQ5. The SQ5 is really heating up. For a long time, we just thought Nick, our marketing guy, was kind of like
Just
gaslighting us.
There's tons of SQ5 guys that want to mod.
Yeah, we thought he was like gaslighting us into this false reality, but the more and more I see actual data coming that there are real SQ5 customers who buy these products.
Yeah.
So, and speaking of which, we have one here that we'll be talking about. But yeah, no, we're planning on it. We were sort of debating doing some adapters, but I think we've decided that we will just do a complete new unit, and again, it'll be a high flow cat, just like the rest of the line. It'll basically be our B9 S4 high flow cat,
Right.
with just some augmented. I believe the legs are different, and the inlet, the whole thing's kind of shifted back. So, update on B9 rotor updates. Yes, we are looking to release probably this fall, like just post summer. Did I take pictures of them?
No, we.
I don't.
So,
I took photos of. I think I photographed them.
yeah.
Yeah, they'll be out soon. They're a lighter weight than factory design, with much better aerodynamics and cooling. So definitely an upgrade, and then we will offer the rotor rings as well, so you can just swap those out. But stay tuned for those. Are you guys working on any fueling products for the B8 3.0 platform? Haven't heard any updates on the surge tank setup or low pressure fuel pump. So the low pressure fuel pump is done. It's just a matter of adapting it in the B8 application. And so we just finished up.
Well, not the surge tank.
Yeah, no, I said.
You said low pressure fuel pump.
Yeah, it's a surge tank.
But yeah,
with
it's a whole
fuel.
other thing. The low pressure pump still stays in the tank. The surge tank is an addition to.
Yeah. Well, so what I'm talking about is our low pressure fuel surge tank,
Right.
which you keep the stock pump in the tank, and then you mount the surge tank up in the front of the car. And this eliminates any kind of fuel sloshing problems that you have from inside the tank. It also eliminates the entire fuel line restriction from the gas tank up to the engine, and it gives you a little bit more fuel capacity as well. But also we supply it with a high flow Deechworks brushless fuel pump.
Yep.
So it's this pump, from what we're seeing, can support well over 700 horsepower. It would easily support any 3.0 T application.
Yep.
Including E85.
Yeah, it's been on a couple of, or at least 700 wheel car at this point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the world record 3.0 T time
it was running on the world record 3.0 T car.
was running on that car. So, another thing I've considered is just listing the low pressure fuel pump by itself and letting people sort out the lines.
Yeah.
It's not that complicated.
It's not that bad.
So we might just do that for anyone who wants to DIY it.
Yeah, just do a kit, a bunch of extra lines. And
Yeah,
stuff.
I've talked to engineering about that, so we should probably accelerate that. So yes, it's coming, but if you really want something from us, let us know, and we can just provide you the raw, the base kit, and then it's just some AN lines.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's what Matt
Wiring.
basically did.
Yeah.
And you've got to run a return line. That's kind of the biggest. patch.
But it's
not
simple
that
to do. Yeah, you can just run it and email fuel.
Yeah, it's just an interesting take on the products we release now are so
Yeah,
polished
they're
and so done.
flushed
Like
out,
we kind of
yeah.
forget that there's plenty of guys that can wrench and get in there and figure out some solutions.
So nobody has any B9 questions? B9 teams?
Nothing yet. No, they're all just
crazy.
driving their cars.
Interesting. I figured we'd have a bunch of follow-ups. Anyone out there with B9
No, there's a couple
3.0
actually
T?
here that aren't yet in the.
Let us know what you're thinking. So I just want to talk about that for a minute. This is by far one of the most successful product releases we've ever had at the company.
Yeah.
I know I said that about the rear main seal plates, and for a hardware product that was, but this on the tuning side. So we've now flashed well over 100 cars in less than 3 weeks, and the feedback's been incredible from customers. People are starting to
plenty
drag
more that
race.
haven't got their cables yet or haven't flashed yet. Too.
And we did extend the introductory pricing a little bit longer, I think, through the 6th, so through 4th of July. But people are loving it. They're very happy. They're thrilled with the acceleration. Cars have been flashing successfully. We had one customer had an issue, and we got them sorted out. There's another customer who appears they have some kind of remote starter, and that's something.
Yeah, and we
should talk
had some
about.
discussions over the weekend about how much
Yeah.
And how to kind of preemptively educate or explain that. But in this case, and we've seen it twice before, I think there are sometimes devices that get installed on these cars that will communicate with the ECU at sporadic intervals.
Yeah.
And if it's not done properly, they will just sit there and chatter along to the ECU, regardless if anything else is trying to talk to the ECU. In this case, it's a remote starter. That is, it's an aftermarket. I have no idea what brand. But it's
I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah, on the new cars, they don't have like
brand new
RPM
car.
triggers or whatnot, or RPM signals. Like the old days, your remote starter would have a TAC input, and that's how.
So they actually tap into the CAN wiring?
Well, it sits on the OBD. It basically is like if you had plugged it into an OBD connector.
But they just...
It gets wired in behind the connector
Yeah,
though, so
right.
you don't even know it's necessarily going to
Yeah.
be talking with the ECU. And
Yeah, if you have something like that, you have to either let us know or know that no flash in the world will work.
it's literally like it's just sitting there yammering along to the ECU while other tools are trying to talk to it. So if you try to run VCDS or OBD11 and log anything, it's going to fail as well.
Yeah.
Even
So
reading fault codes can fail if these things aren't set up properly. So
Yeah.
that's just something nobody's going to be able to flash over. And it's a custom aftermarket thing put in the car that we don't have any control over.
Yeah. Someone's asking about B9.5 compatibility. So we are working on that. What we've been recommending is buy it now under the introductory sale pricing, and then we should be able to get you flashed. I don't know, about a month or so.
Yeah, that's about what we're shooting
is what
for.
we're shooting for. Of course, if you want to cancel at any time between now and then, you can. Your return eligibility doesn't start until you flash your car. But it's a good way to save some money, and the tuning's not going to change. It's just some of the flashing protocols, and there's some other stuff inside that changes, but we don't have to recalibrate for the newer cars necessarily. B9 S5 ResX. I think we've spoken about this and talked about it. So, Mark, I don't know. Write that down, Mark.
On the S5.
Yeah. C8 3.0 T support. This is like
That's
A8s.
the light hybrid. That's the A6, A7 stuff.
Yeah.
We haven't dug into that one much yet. It will be coming. Well, we're gonna. Yeah, we don't have anything official to talk towards that yet.
Yeah. Any needed or recommended supporting mods to run your Stage 193 tune on a 2020 RS3 Nardo edition? No, you can just flash it. We do on the product page for that tune.
Yeah, take a look at
we
the
do have
product page.
recommendations.
Because intercoolers recommended.
It's recommended. It's not required,
No.
but those. It's similar to the B9. The factory intercooler is tiny.
Yep.
And the turbo on that car is capable of a lot boost pressure.
Yeah.
And it's very undertuned stock.
Yeah. Intake helps a good bit.
We have an intake for that.
Turbo when it's ready.
Yeah.
Dog bone intake.
Yeah, and then there's the
Yeah,
rest of the drive
there's
package.
the rest of the
all the
drivetrain.
inserts, the dog bone stuff, the and then springs, sway bar.
Of course, our whole product line is ultimately what you want.
Search RS3 and
Yeah. But just to run the tune, you can put Stage 1 on there.
yeah.
And nothing else. And the factory ECU will manage the heat. And if things get too hot, it will dial things down until they cool off. But I think we strongly recommend a front mount intercooler. It's the same with the B9 3.0 T as well. But you'll love our tune. It's very well tested. It has very smooth and factory-like drivability. You will notice a huge increase in power. And then you'll also have, for free, E85 available to you, which will rip your face off.
Yeah,
that's
it's
the
a
ultimate. If you
ridiculous
have
transformation
access to E85, you want to have a good time, put in some E85. But the 93 file is very good. I've driven a lot on the 91 file, which is awesome. But the E85 is by far where it's at.
Yep.
Have you released your cold air intake for the B9 SQ5 already? I've been looking for that. We have not yet. I think we're looking at about 2 months out for that. It's all done. It's designed. It's gorgeous. It has a whole big carbon fiber fresh air duct that goes down into the air box. The air box is there's a lot more height in the SQ5 that we utilized, and then there's a nice silicone connector that goes to the turbo. And it's being manufactured right now by our carbon supplier. So stay tuned. It's a really nice piece. We're really proud of it.
These questions are coming in hot and heavy.
Yeah,
here.
now the questions are coming.
You're right.
Some are like some we answered already. Will you be developing any B8 2.0 T tuning, ethanol blends, power figures, the F8? Yes.
All of it. Yep. I was talking with Nick moments before I came in here. He's very well on the way of getting that wrapped up. So yeah, we're doing stage 1, stage 2 B8 2-liter stuff right off the
Flex
bat here.
fuel. For the later cars.
And on the later cars with the flex fuel support as well. We are running an ethanol blend currently on the early cars. So yeah, it's going to be a lot of options.
And the power figures that we're getting are very impressive. That's a potent application, and we're just getting started with it. So there's more coming.
Yeah. And ZF8 tune, he's been spending a bunch of time on the transmission as well, which is also what I've been alluding to, where we're going to roll a lot of that into the the 3-liter applications as well coming up. So yeah, it's been a lot of good work on it.
Okay, this has come up before. I have noticed less crackles than factory on my 034 stage 1 tune on my B9 S4.
Yeah.
Is that true?
It is true to some extent,
didn't
particularly
notice
on the
that.
E85 file, just the way the timing maps and the way E85 itself is kind of the way it works. The crackles are a little less sharp. We're going to work on that, just there's been some requests for more aggro crackles. So we are going to be addressing that.
Yeah, and keep in mind, anyone who has our B9 S4 tune or SQ5 or is thinking about getting it, you're on version 1 right now. So we're now taking feedback. We are
Usually
nowhere.
it's stuff like this where it's like
it's preferences.
it's a preference thing or
Well, we were shocked at how much people liked crackles and pops.
yeah, the 3 liter, the
had no idea.
B8 3 liter, we really kinda had to,
We put it off for like a couple years until finally.
because it's like it doesn't,
was like,
it
I
doesn't
guess
make the thing any faster. It
No.
doesn't make it, but it's part of the driving sensation. And
Yeah. But yeah, so please continue to give us your feedback. You are on version 1. We're nowhere near done with this, and there's a lot more coming for that file.
just here's the question we need to address that came up. Can the E85 tune also run 93? No,
Yeah, no, that's not how it
absolutely
works.
not. That's not how it works.
So anytime you hear it's a 91 file, it's for 91 octane. If it says 93, it's for 93. You see a pattern here?
I do.
If it's for E85, that means you only run E85. Now, if it's E40, that means do an E40 blend and run E40. Can you run?
Well,
No. You should
the
not.
general rule of thumb is for like a gasoline file, like if you're running a 91 octane map, you can run a 93, you can run 93 octane fuel, no problem, or 100 octane fuel. As long as it's gasoline, you can go with a higher octane. When you get into the ethanol blends, it gets trickier because it's not just the octane difference, but it's an entirely different fuel. It needs different amounts of the fuel. It needs different, there's more that goes into the different fuel styles than just an octane rating.
If you're not like an expert at engine tuning and how, if you don't have a really intimate understanding of how these things affect and interact, which frankly almost nobody will except us or the tuners and calibrators here that have done the tuning, then just stick to our recommendations. I mean, just because you can wear size medium men's pants doesn't mean you should wear a size medium women's dress. I mean, would you fit in it? Yes, but these are very specific applications if you like. Although if you'd like to wear a dress, more power to you. But yeah, no, stick with the file that's on the label, please. We don't want to. We don't want to make anyone think that they can run something and when it won't.
And in that particular case, you do not want to do that.
Yeah. Any ETAs on the MQB filter-on-a-stick intake? It's got to be coming soon. It's been done for a while, so it's getting manufactured.
It's not a stick either, but yeah.
Well, I think we've called it that.
Yeah, no, it's the terminology.
It is a very simple hose with an air filter on the end, and then a very nice carbon fiber shroud around it. I'd like to say that should be hitting the market in the next month or two. We're gonna have a lot of products hitting in the next month or two. I feel like because a lot of intakes. Yeah. Well, we had some new engineering staff start late last year, and one of the guys, Kelton, has just been killing it on intakes, and so
that stuff's coming through the pipeline.
We have a glut of intakes coming through, which is very exciting. And he's kind of mastered the process in a very short time. How is progress coming on 4.0 TT and the swap kit for the B8.5 coming along? Will it be just the engine swap kit, or what is needed to make all the modules work in said cars? Well, let's take a step back.
Yeah.
I don't know if we ever said we're offering an engine swap kit. We may be offering some parts from the swap if it makes sense. If we feel like, they're replicable and they're good quality and they meet the needs of the customers out there. The swap is coming along. So the engine is mounted. The drivetrain is together. We have a transmission, a diff. The axles are all hooked up. It's tight. I was looking at it the other day.
It's tight. Oh, yeah.
It fits. But there's like a kind of a wiring loom that goes underneath the motor. We're going to have to split that and run it in two different ways because it's just kind of sandwiched between the oil pan and the subframe.
Yeah, and just everywhere it mounts, both before and after that, it's kind of tough to...
I believe Nate's gonna jump in and do some wiring. And
Yeah, I
get-
gotta see. They were supposed to, I think they're at a good point for me
Yeah.
to jump in now. So
Yeah.
to get that stuff booted up.
Yeah, so we should have it running soon, and then it's just gonna be a matter of buttoning things up, and I think we have to figure out the radiator and the intercooler.
So radiator brackets, some stuff we had to do there. Intercooler. No, we're using our intercooler for the time
Our
being.
intercooler.
Yeah.
But
It's all
wasn't
pretty
there?
straightforward. This is some
It was the
hoses and
radiator
things.
that was like, it was single pass.
The radiator. Well, yeah, that, we had debated using the S6 versus
Yeah.
the S4. So there's a couple of things we're looking at there. But I think for the time being, it's just some brackets right now. So it's getting there. It's coming along. It's
Yeah.
It's especially from the on my end, from the wiring side, it's actually a pretty darn straightforward
Yeah.
integration. It looks like.
Everything's so modular
So
these
not
days.
too worried about it.
Well, your stage 2 B9 tune require upgraded high pressure fuel pump, and do you have an ETA?
We'll determine that once we get there. I don't think it will right now. I think we have enough headroom currently.
We'd rather not. There's really not a good high pressure fuel pump solution on the market. We're working on one that will be available in the future. But there's been reports of a certain tuner with a 3-letter acronym, which is like,
It's like half the industry.
who supposedly there's been a number of high pressure fuel pump failures, and it's from adapting basically the Autotech fuel pump and adapting it into the B9. And I don't know if we know exactly what the issue is, but there's a number of reported cases where those pumps are failing and causing lots of problems. So we're going to try to release something optimized without it,
So,
but yeah, they're still selling it.
yep.
Yeah.
Well, it's a rebuild kit for it.
Yeah. As far as ETA, we're working on it. It's probably a couple months out. Anyone who buys stage 1 can just pay the difference and upgrade to stage 2. So I would recommend you jump into stage 1 now if you haven't. If you have, hopefully you're enjoying it. If you haven't run E85, do that, and that'll definitely hold you over. And we'll go from there. All right, so we have this beautiful, sexy piece of billet here, and this is our new B9 SQ5 strut tie bar system. So it comes with this big main strut that goes between the 2 strut towers, and then there's these.
Is that released? Is that on the site? I can get a picture.
It is released.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. Sorry if I made it sound like it hadn't been released. And then these are the struts that connect to the firewall area. Actually, I think they go like this. No, they go
No,
like this.
they go across it. Yeah.
Yeah. And yes, and then these attach to the strut
Yeah, I was
tower
just,
like
I
that,
was
and
just
then
making
and then this goes back into the firewall behind the firewall. So it's a very strong triangulated system. Solid billet aluminum construction. It has a gorgeous media blasted finish, and it's anodized, clear anodized. Now this is the factory, which is like a hollow steel tube. I mean, it definitely does something, but it's a pretty weak, flexy device. I'm sure if you took enough steroids, you could bend this over your knee. Not like there's a lot of those type of forces, but there's kind of a lot of this type of compression force on this piece. And it comes with all brand new hardware, factory and aftermarket hardware. So this has been extremely popular. They've been flying off the shelf. Who's the one dealer? Mops?
Nemesis.
Yeah, Nemesis has been selling a ton of these, so thank you for the support.
Garage Forge as well.
Garage Horch has been as well. Yeah, there you go. That's it installed. Nate's got a picture of it.
Yeah, I'm gonna try and get a picture up here before we're done talking about it.
So these are in stock, ready to ship. And if you want to do something to beautify your engine compartments, this is a great thing to do. This will also increase the stiffness of your front suspension. So it should help with, creaking and stuff going over driveways, or if you're off-roading, certainly would help with that. And then in cornering, keeping your suspension geometry locked so that those strut towers can't flex and move around. Because if those strut towers move at all, then it will affect things like your toe and your camber immediately. Certainly your steering feel as well. So you want all that energy to transfer directly through the tires and not flex your body or chassis. So again, it's a very popular product. We've sold thousands of these for the B5 or
B5.
the B9
B8 or the
B9
B9
A4 sedan, an S4 sedan, an RS5, and we also do have a B8 one, a B8 Strut tie bar as well, which actually does something. There's some pretty crappy stuff on the market. Someone's I don't know, it's like a DIY, like a steel tube or aluminum tube from Home Depot that people bolt in, and it just does nothing. So
One coming for B8 and SQ5 as well.
B8 SQ5 is
SQ5
next.
coming. Yep.
Yeah, and it's really cool, sexy billet part too. So we're really excited and proud of these products. So check it out if you like. If you have a SQ5, we're really trying to support the SQ5 market, and not just because Nick said so. We're actually getting really positive feedback, but we got to thank Nick for getting it off the ground. Yeah, right. Do you guys plan on providing tuning for the 3.0T for the port injection kits that are being developed by JXB, German Performance Solutions, or Precision Raceworks? Yes. I believe Nick and I were talking to Precision Raceworks last week.
Yep.
And so they offer the hardware. They're sending us one of their hardware kits. We have an electronics solution that we will be developing for that. And then I guess we will offer their hardware kit and they will offer our software kit. And I believe these solutions should work for the other stuff on the market too, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's no
it's just
reason it wouldn't.
hardware.
It's just, and you know, our solution is more than just some supplemental fueling. It really is a full like factory kind of tie-in. It will also get you the ability to run flex fuel on these, you know, an actual flex fuel system. So
That's
it will,
awesome.
you'll be able to run a sensor and run, you know, from normal fuel all the way up to whatever. So yeah, it's more than just just firing some injectors and trying to make an ECU happy with it. It's going to be fully integrated to the ECU. The ECU's injection pulse width will determine the injector firing. It's all dealt with digitally on a on the CAN network. So
yeah, so that's definitely coming. We're working on it, and that will kind of unlock a next level of performance for the B8 3.0T.
Yep.
I think we already answered this B8 fueling question. 4.0T tune we answered. Well, your B9 S4 control arms fit the B9 SQ5. Will you eventually be offering lower control arms? We are offering a full B9 sedan control arm kit, and that's coming soon. I don't know about SQ5 compatibility. I doubt it, because a lot of times those cars are different. But we will let you know, and if things can kind of continue with the SQ5, everyone seems pretty excited about it. We will continue to evolve products for that application as well. Sorry, I can't give a straight answer on that right now. Stage 2 ECU tunes for B9 S4, do they have a check engine lights? Well, since they're for racing use only, there is no check engine lights.
correct.
So that's not a smog legal modification, but for turbo applications, stage 2 almost always signifies high flow cat / test pipe, racing use, no check engine light. Now on a supercharged application like the B8 does not mean that.
The terminology kind of
Yeah,
went out the window
it does.
with just whatever the market kind of started calling things.
Yeah. When is local pickup coming back? I'm not sure. But if you're local and you'd like to buy one of our products, you can call our service department and place an order through them. And they do serve local customers in that way. We have it turned off on the website just because, all the issues with that COVID created, we were not in a position to be here and to make that service available. But we will look into turning it back on in the future. For most local orders, we ship for free if it's over $100. So and it's one
Most
day
is local.
shipping.
Well, most U.S. based, continental U.S. How,
Well, yeah, but I'm just saying if you're
locally
local,
yeah, especially if you're local.
if you're in San Jose, which is a 30-minute drive, you can order it today. If you order it early enough, it'll ship, and it'll be there tomorrow. So by the time you get in your car and drive here, FedEx will be pulling up at your house. For the B9 TCU tune, can you or have you made it so that in S mode, the transmission will actually downshift into first gear like the rest of the gears?
The TCU tune is going to be.
Yeah, so
It's going to have a lot of changes both in the shift patterns and shift options. Downshifting into first, maybe. We'll have to look and see what use case there is for that. That's usually, I can only think of like auto crossing or something where you'd really want it to kick down into first aggressively.
yeah, it's kind of not worth it by the time it does.
Yeah.
Second gear's right there.
Yeah, we'll
So just to
we're gonna have to take a look and just see how it performs.
Yeah. So to review for any B9 3.0T customers that are interested in our tune, and we went over this in live chat when we released it 2 weeks ago. So we are including a free TCU tune with our stage one right now, and it's $150 value. So what we did is we made it so that the TCU and the ECU are communicating and that the TCU is unlocking higher torque potential for the ECU. Without reprogramming the stock TCU, the TCU has its own torque limits that would be exceeded. So you could either turn that off in the ECU, which basically cancels any safety protocols between the TCU and the ECU, or you can reprogram the TCU, which is the right way to do it, which is what we've done. And now the TCU and the ECU are working in concert with each other. And if any kind of torque limits are exceeded from the TCU can communicate to the ECU and say,
Got something going on that's something wrong with the transmission. You're getting a bunch of clutch slip. Your transmission temperatures are getting out of control. It will want ideally it should be able to reduce the engine's torque so that it can
it should be able to.
Temps can come down, or you can get it home safely.
Yeah, it should be able to, because that's the way the car was designed and engineered from Audi, and it's a critical safety feature that we don't want to cancel. Now, a lot of our competitors have done just that, and we didn't agree with that. So the point is, one, full safety features are still in play. Two, it's not a full featured TCU by any means.
Right now, no.
Yeah. So other than the torque limits, we have not augmented anything else in the TCU, which is why we're not selling it for more money. We're basically including it for free for anyone that buys stage one. When we release a full featured TCU, we will offer it for more money, and all the things like you're talking about with shift points and shift speed and driving characteristics, we will begin to augment in a more substantive way than we have, which we have done.
Which will then be its own product.
Yeah.
For the TCU.
But anyone who buys it now will get $150 of credit towards our full featured stage 2 TCU file when we release it. Mm-hmm. Oh my God, no. Can I stack my JB4 with your B9 S4 ECU tune? If you'd like to blow up your engine, please do. But no, do not do that. We cannot speak to that.
Yeah, no, we're not leaving a ton of
there's no extra
power sitting on the table.
There is none.
You
no.
can just stack a.
I mean, we've optimized and maxed out the turbo and the power available in the turbo system. We haven't left extra powered, safe power just sitting around. So I don't know how people get away with it on like MQB 2.0s and stuff, but I do not recommend doing that. The beauty of our tune is it's way more power than a JB4 with all the factory safety features with as good or better.
Yeah, properly remapped ignition maps.
Yeah.
Properly remapped fuel tables, so you're not relying on
tricking the ECU.
Either tricking the sensors or relying on ECU reaction to timing to events. So
and with as smooth or improved smoothness and drivability over the factory, which all the tuning boxes I've driven, I mean, they make some power, but they're not smooth, and the drivability definitely suffers.
Yeah, and it's maybe it'll feel okay just doing a pull, but then the shifts, the shift quality is almost,
Yeah.
I've never seen shift quality that's been even as good as stock. And usually it's quite poor because you have to lie to the ECU. It's underreporting whatever torque it ends up making. The transmission doesn't know what it's doing, what the ECU is actually doing. So
So, with good calibrations like what we have come out with, it kind of puts these tuning boxes out of business. I mean, there's really no reason to do them unless you're willing to accept a lot less power for the ability to go back to stock and hope that the dealer, can't detect that it was there. Our ECU calibration is factory OEM quality with all the safety features, with smoothness and drivability with a ton more power. So that these kind of tuning box solutions are kind of archaic. I mean, they're literally like putting electronics in between the sensor and the ECU to trick them, and all that goes out the window when you do a proper calibration. So, I don't know what you should do with that thing, but please don't stack it with our tune. It sounds very, very like a bad thing to do. I have a 2018 S3. I will be tuning ECU and TCU 91 octane this week. Do you guys provide updates periodically to either or both? Car as a daily driver. What should I expect for experience after the tune? We do, and we have quite a few updates coming for 2.0 T.
Yeah, we have more in the pipeline this year.
A lot. We do offer periodic updates. Now, when you buy our tune, and you buy a cable, you'll have access to our tuning server. So you can check back whenever you want, and you can see the files that are there. If there's updated new files, you can flash with them. We are emailing customers and users when we have like kind of big substantive releases or big like kind of critical changes we think you should flash. We will email you. As far as what you should expect is a lot more power and a lot more fun behind the steering wheel. OEM like drivability.
It should be one of those things in your head where it's just like, well, why did it become this way? That's kind of our goal.
That's what everyone's like. The car should have came this way. Absolutely. And I spent a lot of time in our S3 when we originally developed the tune, and then now
we get the Golf R back.
We have the Golf R here with our Stage 2 tune on it, and it's a freaking blast. That's 91 Stage 2, and it's a lot of fun. So you're gonna love it. I'm very excited for you to run this. Someone's asking similarly, IS38 support for Mk7 GTI.
Yep.
Yes.
Hybrid options, yes.
We have a Mk7 GTI and a Mk7 Golf R here, and I think it's maybe the next after A5 2.0 T stuff.
There's going to be some overlap, yeah.
Yeah, some overlap.
I think I'll be doing more of the.
We already have various hybrid turbos showing up for the additional tuning effort. So yeah, and then we're gonna move the KO4 from the Golf R over to the GTI.
The IS38.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. That's going to be. We're gonna
not KO4.
Yep. The hybrid will be going on the Golf R. The IS38 will be moving to the GTI.
Yeah.
We'll be playing musical turbos for a little bit to get all the options covered for both calibrations.
Yeah. I have SSP clutches in my B8.5 S4 DSG. Do you support upgraded clutches with your TCU tune?
We have never found the need to upgrade the clutches.
Yeah. I don't know why people do this.
Yeah, I'm not saying it won't work, but with a properly calibrated TCU, we have yet to find a reason to upgrade from the stock clutches.
Yeah, definitely.
Which actually, if you want to read that top question, kind of ties in with that.
The 8.5 DSG tune, what does it do exactly? Quicker shifts, advanced launch control, but won't that damage the clutch quicker?
It's actually the opposite. So with a proper TCU calibration and, your correct amount of clutch line pressures, and the clutches, are, as long as they're controlled correctly, for the power you're making, you're going to have less clutch wear because you're not constantly slipping. The TCU is not having to play catch up, and the clutch will slip, and then the TCU has to react and try and grab it again. And every time it's slipping, that's more wear on it. With a file that's set up with more, either more clamping pressure or different strategies, you can reduce, almost all of that. My B8 has over 100,000 miles on it now.
Yeah.
The transmissions never come out of the car.
Yeah.
The stock clutches, they've shown no signs of any issues.
Yeah, so there was a period, probably like 5 years ago, and before that, where nobody knew how to program the DSG 3.0T correctly, and so as a result, because clamping force wasn't being increased, the stock clutches would slip. So companies like SSP came out with clutch discs with higher coefficients of friction than the stock disc material.
Yeah, they'll either do more discs or different materials, or
So they were able to kind of create a band-aid by just offering more friction in the clutch packs, because the proper solution, which is just squeezing the clamping force harder, nobody was able to do.
and it's tricky too, right? Because it's not just the TCU that's in full control here. The ECU has to correctly tell the TCU how much power it's making, which I don't know of any other calibrations out there that are doing that on the 3 liter, at least in the way we are.
So we came out with our TCU tune about 3 years ago, and we were one of the first companies to actually provide a DSG tune that properly controlled the factory DSG clutch clamping loads. And we were able to make the factory clutch packs hold tremendous torque. In fact, as much torque as has ever been made in one of these motors, the factory discs will hold. So,
This guy's he's saying my clutches were slipping. That's why I went with the upgraded ones.
but what tune was it?
I don't know, and I mean, if you truly had degraded stock clutches, I can understand that. As
Sure,
far as-
once they slip a bunch, then they will be bad.
will it work with the SSP stuff? It probably will. We haven't tested it.
There's no reason it shouldn't.
Chances are good it might be a little grabbier.
Yeah.
Just because the coefficient of friction is going to be different for the given pressures.
Yeah. We don't have a tune for aftermarket clutches because there's no need. If you're
he's saying he wasn't even on a tune, so his stock clutches were just
so if your stock clutches wore out, we would just recommend replacing the stock clutches. And again, this isn't your like B5 S4 clutch. These are a totally different multi-disc design. That's
wet clutches.
Wet, so heat is not really an issue. Not nearly an issue.
It's got a lot more thermal mass before it
That's
becomes an issue.
right. Yeah. It's bathed in a solution of fluid that cools it. So you don't get that with a manual transmission disc. So, anyways, I think it'll work. We just don't design it for SS. We don't have an SSP specific tune, but I would recommend getting our tune. If you're not happy with it, you can return it within 30 days. But I believe that we have a number of customers, many customers, who have these type of clutches and run our TCU tune.
Yeah.
How are we doing on time?
He's saying I'm APR tune and want to switch to you guys.
Yeah,
I don't know
definitely
what
switch.
tune. Yeah, again, I don't know what.
We have a switching discount.
There, so
You'll be very happy with our tune. That's a pretty old, outdated tune. So
they haven't touched that in years.
And I don't think APR ever got. Well, I don't think they got the DSG tuning right.
Not anything I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Videos of.
Yep. I hit 275 plus oil temps in my B9 S4 and your 91 octane tune at Button Willow and 110 degrees heat. Will you be developing an oil cooler? We did speak to you, and thank you for the feedback. And that is an idea that we have in our product development board. I would say 275 is not anything to be too worried about. With synthetic oils these days, if you were on dyno oil, it would be more concerning. But these new synthetic oils have really high temp capabilities, and 275, granted, it's hotter than you would see on the street just driving around, but it doesn't necessarily mean you have to pull off track or anything like that. But we are taking feedback, and we are looking at doing more DSG.
Keep in mind,
coolers.
you will want shorter change intervals if you're hitting that kind of temperatures.
Definitely.
We're not saying you want to strive for that kind of temperature.
No.
That's high, and that was a hot day.
But feel free to drive the car, use it, and then just change the oil. After that track day. Even if you're worried about it, you could change it that night if you're doing 2 days in a row, and then you could be on fresh oil the next day.
Yeah, it's tricky with on track with any car at high temps like that. With desert air, basically, it's tough to keep any of them cool, stock or otherwise.
Yeah, but I think I don't know where people get their information about how hot oil temps are. So you could do more research on it as well, but. that's still not hot for synthetic oil. It's not like it's falling apart at that temperature. But does it have a reduced life? Sure. It's not going to be 15,000-mile oil change intervals. With those type of temps.
There are 6 minutes.
We'll be offering a B9 A4 DSG tune. We will be. No, it's not releasing next month or anything, but it's definitely on our product development list for the next 6 to 12 months range. Will you release your ZTF wheels in 20-inch? Will there be an option to order in gloss black, other color options in the works? We are. So we're bringing our 20-inch by 10, which fits cars like the SQ5 and some of the bigger chassis like C7.
I think that's what we have in the A5 right now, isn't it?
It's on the A5 right now. It looks fucking amazing. Yeah. So any of the cars that can really swallow a lot of big wheel and tire, not the sedans, but the coupes and the SUVs, and then some of the bigger chassis cars like the C7, and I don't know what fits on the A8, but I imagine it can fit a lot of wheel too. And I do believe we have we will be offering 2 color options for that. I think, wish Nick was here. He's our color maestro. I believe it is a black color. So it'll be our silver and black, I believe. But stay tuned. We will be offering 2 colors. And listen, the more of these wheels we sell, the more colors we'll do. It's just, we have to put like 40, 50 sets of wheels in stock. And then you're talking 5 or 6 colors.
Yeah, and it's one of these things like you can always take it to a wheel refinisher.
You can. We've thrown that out there. It's like $400 or $500 if you want to do that. Can you run a pulley ratio like a 3.5 on your guys' upgraded low pressure fuel pump for B8 S4? And how can we get access to the raw kit earlier?
No, that doesn't mean you can just go and run like a massive 4-to-1 whatever ratio on the intercooler or on the supercharger. It's the supercharger. I mean, the surge tank is there to provide a stable fuel flow on the low pressure side to the high pressure injectors. It doesn't make the high pressure injectors bigger.
Yeah,
it doesn't provide.
That's a big limiting factor.
Yeah, it doesn't provide a ton more fuel to the engine. What it will provide is a strong base fuel pressure to your high pressure pump. So you're not getting starvation is the biggest benefit of that. It can provide more fuel to that high pressure pump than the stock pump, but it's not like you're going to get 20% more injection time. For just having some more base fuel pressure. It's there for either a tracked car that deals with high G loading, either a drag racing or street stuff, and you need that fuel to be provided at the pump, reliably. That's ultimately what the surge tank's for. But as far as giving you a ton more headroom, not necessarily in this case. And then second to that, of course, is just spinning the supercharger that fast is not something we typically are fans of.
Yeah. All right. Will you be developing a rear sway bar for the B9 Q5 SQ5? Yes. We are testing it currently.
Yep.
And we will release initially we did a rear bar, and it made as much improvement as the rear bar could make, but being a kind of a big, heavy SUV, we determined that it needed a front bar too. So we will be releasing a rear and front bar. I think we'll probably release the rear bar first by itself, and then we'll eventually have a bundle where we offer both. But just the rear bar makes a huge difference. I mean, it corners flatter and the car turns better. The front bar will kind of complete because there's a lot of weight in the front and it's very high. I'm looking to start tracking my Mk7 GTI, but I'm concerned about intake air temps. Do you have a budget intercooler option available? That's good. You should be, because those do overheat on track, especially with a tune. We will be releasing a really nice cast intercooler with tube and fin core, unlike bar and plate, which almost all of them have on the market. For the time being, if you need something now, I recommend the Wagner option that we list on our site. We are not a budget product company. Unfortunately, a budget intercooler is just not going to be worth selling. It's not going to give you the performance that you want. Let's say, a premium, good quality intercooler is going to be $800-900. A $400 intercooler is not even worth doing. You might as well just, light $400 on fire and keep your stock intercooler. Or put in a 401k and turn it to like $10,000 when you retire. But our intercooler should be out maybe later this year, early next year, and it'll be a really, really nice option. I wish we would have done it, 10 years ago, but or 7 years ago, or whenever these cars came out. All right. Are we done?
I think that's
Okay.
we're out of time. Yeah.
Well, thanks for joining us once again. I believe we'll be back next week. Should be Monday. I think I'll be here. So, all right. Cheers. Have a great week, everybody.